Here we go. Welcome back to, I don't have a name for this. I've been thinking about trying to find a clever name for my channel, and so far I haven't come up with anything, but we're chatting
There's
today.
Women in horror who rock.
We most definitely do. Laura J. Hickman, author of Justice, Power, Faith from Not Just a Pretty Face, Women of Horror, Volume 1. And welcome. Nice to hear. Nice to see you. Sorry, I got to...
How have you been?
Okay. Doing okay. How are you doing with lockdown?
I'm lucky. I'm actually staying with my parents, and they have a beautiful view of the water. But then we also got to see all the tourists come visit. Being nice. I'm being nice. You read my story. I can be a little mean, but I'm being nice now. Because I want people to read all the stories.
Yes. Well, sometimes authors that aren't nice get infamous, right? So
I can be that though. I like nice authors. I'm good friends with authors. I like them. They're nice.
Well, we were talking about how horror authors tend to be the most well-adjusted because, you know,
They are. One of the nicest people I ever met in the horror community is Jack Ketchum, Dallas Mayor. He writes, oh my God, I can't even read some of his stuff, but he was such a sweetheart. He was so caring, and it just...
Yeah, I'm really sorry I never got to meet him. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about him.
He went to Bob Booth, who started Nikon's funeral in a Catholic church, and that was the only man that would ever be able to get Jack Ketchum into a church. Yeah. And it was kind of interesting watching him chain smoke like up to the last minute before he had to go in. But he went in and yeah, he was such a good soul, and I miss him. And he's one of my favorite people, idols in writing. But I did get my mom to read his and Lucky's Secret Life of Souls, which is nothing like some of his other stuff. Check it out. Sorry, I have to pimp my
Yeah, that one's on, that is definitely on my TBR. I have a TBR list that's longer than probably I have to
We have
live.
lists that are like this big, and every
time I do one of these chats, I write down more to check out. But as far as Jack goes, the only one of his, well, I read The Lost and, of course, The Girl Next Door, which I still have not recovered from. I don't think I'll ever recover from that story.
No. I saw one scene from the movie, and I literally walked into an event, I think it was at World Horror in Austin in like 2011, and he was the Grand Master, and they were showing scenes of things that were from his movies. I went, I'm going to turn off right back now. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I know. Do you ever find, okay, now I'm a horror fan, but sometimes I'm squeamish and scared and I don't want to see it?
Yes.
It's like, how can you be a horror writer and still be a scaredy cat?
There are times I'm reading something, I'm like, I can't read this, put it over there. And I'll be like, okay, I've read way too much hard stuff. Let me find the fluffiest, cutest bunny story. And yeah, so it's everyone. It's not just you. I do like scary stories. See my shirt?
Ah, that's a scary bunny.
It's a scary stories. It's one of my favorite shirts. I had to buy it when I saw it.
The book has a unicorn on it, though. It makes you wonder what that unicorn's doing with that boring people.
The unicorns are scary. Yes, they can be very scary or very sweet.
So, you know, we've covered, but what about, why do you like to write horror? Now, we know why we're fans of horror, but why do you like to write horror?
I like to write horror because if I can scare myself, I can scare someone else. Plus, if I can get through the scary stuff, the real world scary stuff isn't as scary. If that makes any sense. There's so much real life horror that I like to turn my horror into, like, I admit my story's very revengey. Yes. But you know, it's kind of nice having the woman win. The woman, solve the crime. The woman stand up and go, this is me, and you're just gonna have to accept it, or you don't get to be in my life. And plus there is, especially right now, so much scariness in the world. I'd rather read something that's not real It's just, and if it's scary, good. If it's funny, good. Anything to get my mind off things. And I just think I've always found it easier for me to write horror, so I just kind of jumped into it head first, hit the bottom of the pool, didn't stop swimming.
So far we've been discussing, horror, and I always say that I like to go back to horror because the monster gets bested and the good guys
Yes.
win. Do you find that you're an optimist in some ways as a writer?
I want to be, and like I said, it's a way to get away from the real world horrors. So, the hero doesn't always win in the real world, but usually in a novel, even if the hero doesn't win, you feel like they at least fought, and you they fought. I just recently read a friend of mine's work in progress, and it didn't have a happy ending, but it had like a good lesson, and you saw how he did fight, and it was very creepy and gross. And I hope she gets it picked up.
There are a couple of good calls right now, so I hope she'll send them into some of the good ones.
Oh yeah, it's a novella length, so she's got some ideas of where to send it. So, and she's one of my writing heroes. She's not super big, but my mind just went. Why is my mind going blank on one of my best friends?
Well, you're talking about the good guys winning, and then you're saying that you're reading a creepy ghost story from your friend, who's one of your writing heroes. So that's what led to this point.
Yes. Trisha Wooldred, she's actually editing a novella of mine right now that I'm going to send out soon to Eraserhead Press, so which would be really big for me. So
that's great. I hope it gets picked up. That's awesome.
I do.
So where do you get some of your writing ideas?
The majority of my work takes place in New Orleans, just like this story did, and New Orleans is filled with ghosts and hauntings and creepy ghouls and just so much history that I like to take real history and kind of plop it into, my stories and kind of alter. I have a couple of stories that use John Lafitte, the pirate, and I think I make him much more evil than he really was in real life. He shows up here and there, and I talked about Delphine Lalaurie, who is a very
horrible woman. Horrible woman.
Nice way to put it. She's actually shown up in a few of my stories, and everything is very New Orleans based. And just going to New Orleans is one of my favorite places. I lived there for 10 years, and the crypts, all the cemeteries, the cities of the dead, it's just beautiful. And the food is amazing, and it's just, there's smells that you don't get anywhere else, there's sights. Like even in this story, which has absolutely no real New Orleans history, it's just involving Mardi Gras. Like I picked the main character's name to be Alice because it's very Alice in Wonderland world during Mardi Gras. Like you kind of do go down the rabbit hole, and people are taking different elixirs. So that was kind of the whole idea behind it. So plus it's New Orleans, my home. I call that my home.
Cool. So. I've never been, and I've always wanted to go, but I also hate hot weather. So.
So in the fall, don't go to Mardi Gras. Never go to Mardi Gras. It's not for your first time. The fall is the best time. It's starting to cool down. The nights start a little earlier, so you can actually go be in the hauntings and all that. Plus, the food is amazing. The people are amazing. The history is amazing. It's just it's a treat to go to, and I want all this crap to be over so I can go back and visit.
Yes, well, hopefully you'll get back there soon, and hopefully the lockdowns will be finished soon.
And thank you for giving us something to do during the lockdowns, which anything helps.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have these face-to-face chats too, to get to know the authors, and we can put it out there for people to check us out. And Fright Girls of Summer is coming. It's like a web circle thing, so hopefully we can ride the coattails of that a little. And
anything. First of all, I've talked to you a million times on Facebook, but now I have a face and a voice, and that's so great, And women have to fight together to get noticed in the horror industry. It's better, but we're still working on it.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that women are pushed out somehow, or because we're there and there's lots of us, but
There.
only about maybe a quarter, even in the most progressive, most, balanced publishers, they only have about a quarter women authors at best, right? And we just want to keep getting our voices out there and shouting louder and louder.
And the ones who've made it, they do everything they can to like, help the rest of us up. Linda Addison, who's amazing like that. Rose O'Keefe, who has Eraserhead Press, she said she wanted to work with more women. Mercedes Yardley, one of my best friends, she does a lot of work, like PD Kasich, who has won, Stoker Awards and has been in the horror industry just as long as some of the big names. I mean, she founded Brian Keene, and so there's people who really are helping, and anthologies like this really seem to help. So that makes me happy.
Yeah, I'm glad. I hope we can get it into lots of hands. I just want people to read it and enjoy the story as much as I do.
But I've told my parents I can't read the story.
Yeah, it's definitely not something you want your parents to read, but So what do you consider some of your influences? Now, you spoke about your one friend and Jack Ketchum, but anybody else?
Everyone I just mentioned before. I love Linda Addison's poetry and poetry prose. She's amazing. I love Mercedes Yardley. I've known her forever, and I love her as a person and as a writer, and she's one of my favorites. I've actually worked with PD Kasich on the charity anthology for Nikon, Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep, and all the proceeds went to the Jimmy Fund, which is children's cancer. And so that was really fun, and she's just an amazing person and writer. And then of course everyone's got the typical, I read Stephen King for the first time, and then I started reading this guy named Richard Bachman and didn't realize it was the same person. As a kid, I read the Goosebumps, I read R.L. Stine. My first scary movie I ever consciously remember was The Shining, edited at 3 a.m. in the morning on TBS. And it scared me so bad that I said, I will never read that book. And that was when I was about 13. Like, that was the first thing that ever really scared me. And finally, in about 2011, I finally read it and I went, oh, this is really good, but yeah, it's not as scary as I made it out to be. It was The Big Boogeyman. I bought that book probably 10 times over the years. And, I'm like, oh, okay, I read this, I'm glad. And I'm like, why was I so scared? That's what I like about horror. It's whatever scares you, it doesn't matter, it scares you. And everyone is scared of something different. So if you can tap into that, okay, this person doesn't like bears, let me put bears in. Okay, this person is scared of cars because they've had too many car wrecks. All of a sudden we have all these stories, and it's fun. It's escapism, but it also kind of builds you up, because it's like, hey, if you're a reader, if the characters in the story can get through it, I can get through it. So
I hear you. Yeah, I have a specific fear that it will probably never ever happen, because I've never been on an airplane. I probably never will be. But I read a means of death in a book by Michael Slade, who's a Canadian horror author. And so they go on this like retreat weekend, and it's one of those like mystery things where everybody dies a different death, right? Well, in this particular one, the person sits on the toilet, the steel forms a seal with their butt, and then the pressure pulls them out from the inside, their insides out. And I was like, okay, I'm never, ever, ever going to the bathroom on an airplane. I am never going near a pool drain, because that's happened at pool drains too, right?
Oh,
and
yes.
I think there was an episode of, or one of the Final Destinations.
Final Destinations had that.
Yeah, the guy got sucked out the pool drain. That's one of my biggest phobias, and it'll never happen. But no.
Problems with eyes, like messing with eyes. Now I wear contacts, and I've been doing it for years, but oh my, anything with like one of the Final Destinations, it may have even been the same one, has something with the eye, getting laser surgical. No.
Yeah,
like my skin is falling thinking about it.
Oh, I have the same thing with eyes. Yeah. There was, I used to do video, like I would take videos because I worked at AB at the university,
Yeah.
and I recorded these like business things, or no, it was a speech class, and the final project is everybody had to give a speech. Well, this one woman gave a speech about her eye surgery, and they're like, yeah, she says, yeah, they had to hold me down, clamp my eye open, and then they give me this local anesthetic, and then I was awake the whole time, and I'm like, ah! The whole time I'm just like, can you stop,
You're like,
please?
no, no, no,
If
no.
I wear glasses. I will never have eye surgery. I cannot handle that. I can't handle contacts either.
It took me probably 2 or 3 months to get used to it. Now I just like, and I don't even think about it now. But if I think about it, I can't do it. I have to literally just like turn my brain off. So yes, I completely understand. Oh, I get goosebumps. Thank you. See, you just scared me.
Sorry.
1 point for you. No, that's what I'm saying is you never know what's going to scare someone. So you got to, throw out some revenge stories, throw out some ghost stories, throw out crazy unicorns, throw out the grizzly bear story, throw out the ghouls, the goblins, and then throw out the, man's and humanity man and scary people. Like that's okay, ghosts. Okay, are they real? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm not afraid of ghosts and goblins. I'm afraid of the scary person down the street. Because, he was so nice. He was so quiet.
He was always dumping big bags of garbage. All those home renovation projects, the power tools at night.
He was so nice, though. Yeah. So that's what horror is to me, is finding a way to find almost fun in the things that scare people. And I do get a little thrill out being like, I'm going to kill this character. Hee hee hee. I admit it. I've killed friends and enemies in stories. Who hasn't? And killing friends in stories is actually like an honor. Like, I'm like, kill me in your story. Kill me in your story.
Yes,
I haven't died in anyone's story.
I've fictitiously killed lots of people too.
Oh, yes. Well, I can't go kill you in real life, so I'll just kill you on paper.
Yeah. All the more reason we're so well adjusted. We fictitiously kill everybody that we hate, and
we get our anger.
Yes,
get our anger out.
Yes. All right, so we should probably wrap this up now that we're all about sharing horrible things.
Have like ice cream after this or chocolate to feel better. The Dementors have come visit. I need some chocolate.
Yes. Was there anything else you wanted to add or talk about?
I was good. I didn't read any of the stories yet, on the proof, because I don't feel right, but I'm like, I want to read all of them. I'm going to order it just so I can get it now. There's some really good names in this, and that made me excited. And I hope all of us have some great success. And I hope you edit more anthologies, because that would be great to get into more. Because I love short stories. They're so much fun to write. That's just me. I love short stories.
Yeah, well, I've said I would love to be like the Alice Munro of horror, right? Because all Alice Munro's ever written is short stories, right? And she's got a Pulitzer Prize, or Nobel, was it Nobel? Yeah, it's a Nobel Prize she's got. Yeah. But the Alice Munro horror. So it's a good goal to work for.
I joke that I want to, now that I've done one anthology, I want to do more. And I'm like, I just want people to be like, I want an anthology. Or just like, I'm like, I want to be more anthologies with you, because you've been fun to work with, and it was a great process. I was so happy to do this, because I never thought, and I admit the story's dark and gruesome. I never thought anyone would even look twice at it, let alone be like, yes, because it is pretty intense. And I actually did bring it back a little after somebody's like, yeah, I had nightmares, and not good ones from it. I was like, okay, I won't destroy it so bad. And then I didn't. I was like, oh no, keep it. But yeah, I tried it a little less gruesome, and I'm glad more gruesome is good. Because it's a gruesome story.
Yeah.
It's a very gruesome. So.
Yeah. but there's, you know, we have the sympathy for the main characters, right? And that's what
Yes,
matters.
Alice deserves happiness.
Well, I hope she finds it, and I hope you do. And
Just
so we're gonna wrap this up.
you too.
And have a
All
great
right,
night. Thanks again.
you too. Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye.